This video is about a modification to my 1998 Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum 360 engine. If you know anything about these engines, there's a design flaw in that this is the bottom of the intake here, and this area here is the plenum. The throttle body comes in down there, and if you can see it, there's two holes in there. There's the holes, and the throttle body's there, and the air comes into this plenum, and then it works its way to each cylinder through these runners right here. There's 8 runners: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these runners are feeding the engine with air. Well, the plate that covers this plenum is bolted on. You can see all the bolt holes, and here's the plate, and it fits on like so. These plates are notorious for blowing the gasket out. They'll blow out the side, and then you end up with a vacuum leak into the engine, and it sucks oil and creates problems with the engine. The engine tends to ping because the oil, I guess, lowers octane gas. Not sure why, but I just know they're notorious for pinging because of this flaw. The original gasket's very thick, or the factory gasket is very thick. So what I'm doing is I'm making a paper thin gasket out of standard gasket paper material I buy from AutoZone or whatever. And so I've already cut the gasket out. They're all the same shape. Let me do this set up here. So anyway, there's my gasket, and I'm going to use obviously I'm not going to use just the paper. I'm going to use this sealant called Permatex Aviation Forming Gasket. This stuff is what they use on outboard motors to seal gaskets, and also use it, I guess, in aviation. So anything that's got the word aviation in it, I trust to do a good job on an airplane. So that's my fix for this problem. I'm not going to go in a lot more detail about the problem. You can Google it and find it many more instances on the internet. However, what I am going to do is there's another modification that people are doing to these intakes, and this intake is similar to a General Motors tune port injection. These runners are a certain length. In other words, the air that enters here ends up over here. So this runner runs all the way through the top of this intake and ends up over there for these two sides here. So but if you notice, these, trying to get a picture of it here, these runners are very close to that bottom plate, and there's a lot of people cutting these runners back to make it easier for the air to get into the runner. The question is, how far do you cut it back? Well, if you remember the LT1 engines of the 1990s, GM changed some tune port to LT1, which had very short runners. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to cut these runners back. I'm going to take a Sawzall and go right through a line right about here with a Sawzall and cut them back as far as I can, and then I'm going to finish it up with an air grinder, which I have in my pocket. I'm going to finish up with this air grinder and take it all the way down. I'm going to take these runners all the way down to this surface right here. It's hard to tell, but back down to there. So it's about, let me see if I can get the picture, about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter from here down to that surface right there. So I'm going to take it all the way down to that surface and smooth it out to make the inlet bell shape to let the air in. So that's going to be I'm going to give this a shot, and then I'll do a final video when it's done before I put it back on the car, or back on the engine, and then I'll update the video in the comments so it'll let you know how it runs with this change. So I'm going to get started right now. This is a follow-up video for my 1998 Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum 360 engine. I've just finished cutting the runners. As explained in the previous video, I've cut the runners with a Sawzall. By the way, you have to use a coarse tooth Sawzall, heavy-duty construction Sawzall, because the metal cutting fine blades will gum up from melted aluminum. But so I've just finished cutting them. You can see how they're almost flush now with the surface there and there. And then that one's close to being flush. This one here is a little sticking out a little bit much, but I'll take it down with a grinder. I've got an air grinder with a carbide bit on it. I'll be using this to smooth this to bell mouth and port these intake runners. So just wanted you to see what the raw product looks like after it's been cut with a Sawzall. I'll show one more video when it's done. Thanks for watching. This is the
third video in my series on a 1998 Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum 360 engine. I've now finished, I guess you call it, porting out the runners on the intake manifold. The point is you cut back the metal and open up this cavity so the air can get into the intake better. As you can see, looks like it's opened up pretty good compared to what it was. And I used a grinding wheel. It's not super smooth, but I think it's fine. And I've ground down the sharp edges on the intake to make the air go in smoother. So as you can see, looking down through this runner, it's cut back almost flush with the wall of the intake on the inside, on that side and this side. And it really opens up the airflow so that the air can get into the side here instead of going down from this plate and getting squeezed in there. It's much more wide open. If I give you a shot down the line like this, you can really see how it's airflow is much more into the plenum instead of having to go kind of a circuitous route down through the bottom. So anyway, it's ready to be. I'm ready to put the plate back on, the bottom plate, with my gasket, and seal it up and get it ready to put back on the car. So this is another angle from this end, so you can see how it's cut back, way back, and allows the air to come in from the side. The runners are also taller from top to bottom to allow more. It looks like it's opened up the surface area, let air get in there easier. So once it's back on the car and running, and see how it runs, I'll post either put in the comments or post another video on how well it runs with this change. So thanks for watching.